So we're here with Visceral Games, their new title, Dead Space 2, which is a sequel to the hit title that came out several years ago for PS3 and Xbox 360. And we want to talk more about the game since its reveal and development, and now that the game is on tour.
Yeah, so I'm Zach Mumbach. I'm a producer on the game at Visceral.
Okay. So just give me an idea, since you guys have been on the road with the game and showing it off to gamers, just what the vibe and feeling is like in the feedback.
The vibe and feedback has been amazing. Obviously, we've been working on the game since we finished Dead Space, and when you're working on a game, you're kind of like locked in the office, just cranking away. You're not paying attention to too much.
Yeah.
So to get a chance to come out here and to have all these people play the game, the coolest thing, honestly, is when like hardcore Dead Space 1 fans come out, and they want to get into the nitty gritty of all the different things we're doing with the mechanics, and then to watch them play it, and like,
get into it.
They get into it, and like. We've had a couple people, because they're all wearing headphones in the booth, so they're not really thinking about how loud they're being. So we've had a couple people just like, oh, what's going on over there? That's been pretty cool.
So, like, what was the feedback from the first title that said, okay, we want to go back, we're going to dig into Dead Space 2, we want to get that nitty-gritty detail out. There's stuff that's going on in the game that may be minute in terms of its detail, but very necessary in its execution. For immersion.
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff was story. Like people got really into the story, and we did the comic books, and we did the the animated movie, and we even had like a novel written, and people just kind of wanted more and more of the story, right? And that was like the feedback we got out of Dead Space 1 right off the bat. Of course, there's mechanics and stuff that were changing, but a lot of what we came out of that with is that we needed to make Isaac more of a lead character. He didn't talk in Dead Space, and for the story that we wanted to tell. And we have a ton of story that we want to tell. We felt like he needed to be the hero that was pushing that story forward.
And a lot of times in many games and even in different forms of entertainment, it seems like you have a great lead character, but they don't impact the movie as much. It may, or film or book or even a game, it may be the villain takes the center stage.
Sure, yeah.
How did you ensure that based in gameplay and overall design strategy in terms of its art direction?
Yeah, so I mean, and a lot of that goes in the design of Isaac, right? First of all, he's an engineer; he's not a soldier, so it's using his engineering skills to help him get through, to help you get through the game, right? It's having him talk, having him be vocal now. In the first game, he basically just took orders. I don't want to spoil it. If people haven't played the first game, go play the first game. But in the end, because he just took orders, he never questioned anything. He got burned a little bit, right? And so it was important that we need to show in the second game that he had that experience, that he went through that, right? And that definitely reflects in his personality now. He's a little more wary when people tell him things. He's not just, kind of blindly following orders or anything like that. He's definitely got a personality.
Yeah.
And he's like the necromorph expert at this point.
Okay.
Because of what happened in Dead Space 1, he came at that with so much experience and knowledge that
he's the perfect person to take on these.
He's the perfect guy to take these guys on, and no one is more suited to, he just knows more about these guys than anyone else at this point.
No pun intended, the game has a very great visceral experience when you look at it. Explain to me just graphically and in terms of development, how did the process go from the reveal time to your a couple weeks from shipping now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the game really started right when Dead Space 1 ended, right? And the cool thing about Dead Space 2 is that we're building on the same engine. We have, same artists, same programmers. So these guys are able to kind of build on top of what they did in the last game, instead of kind of having to start from scratch, right? And so obviously when we kind of reveal the game, usually we show concept art first, just like this is the idea, this is what we're trying to bring out, right? And then, because the first thing we do is we build out the game in kind of like a wireframe. There's not a lot of art, right? And then as we start putting art in the game, of course we start getting the screenshots out there. And then, and it's a long, obviously, it's years and years to get to the point where you have a fully arted up game from front to back. But
how do you think this game impacts the industry and the genre itself? Because this, from what I've seen and from the conversations I've had with different people, it really does something very different than even the Resident Evils, the other types of third-person shooters like the Gears of War, which are, high impact, very bloody. This one has almost a cerebral feel as well as an action feel to it. What are you trying to make? What kind of statement are you trying to make?
I mean, basically exactly what you said. Like, and horror is our bread and butter. That's the core of what we do. Survival horror. But we do want to have the big action moments. For one, just because big action moments, like a big epic moment, is cool to have. And another thing, it just helps break up the horror. You know, if I'm kind of like walking you down a tight hallway and jumping guys out at you over and over and over again, after 10 hours at it, it starts to lose its effect. It's not as scary anymore. But if we're breaking up the gameplay and we're going different locations, and sometimes we're in confined spaces, sometimes we're in like big open rooms, that helps. When we want to have a really scary moment, all that helps play into that scary moment.
And it gives it that breadth of the variety and just
variety is extremely important.
And not getting bogged down and bored with the same use of the same mechanics over and over again. You may have to use them.
And and we want to make the best horror video game ever made. That's our goal. It's not, oh, we'd love to make a pretty cool game. No, I mean, we want, this is the second one. The first one came out and people really seemed to like it and they latched onto it, and we've had a lot of time to build the second one. And like we're shooting for the top. We want to make the best.
Thanks a lot. Anything you want to say to the fans and to people that are going to take a look at the game and may have maybe sitting on a fence? What should they need to know? What's the selling point of this game?
Yeah, well, first of all, to the fans, because Dead Space 1, our fans have been amazing, and the feedback we've gotten from them, so much of it has gone into Dead Space 2. It's been really inspiring. So, really seriously, thank you to the fans. Coming out here to Comic-Con has been amazing, meeting all these people in person, and the passion that they have for video games. It helps make my job worth it, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we're working crazy hours in an office,
and no one gets to see anybody. You guys in that room,
right? And we're grinding, and we think we're onto something, but you just don't know until you get in front of the fans. And to have people come, after they play the demo here, and shake my hand, like I'm a producer on a video game, and people are asking for my autograph, and it feels really rewarding, you know what I mean? As far as the people that didn't play Dead Space 1. And are sitting on the fence about Dead Space 2, I suggest play Dead Space 1. I can run through the features for you, but I really feel like the game sells itself. Okay. Play Dead Space 1, and you'll want to play Dead Space 2.
All right. Thanks a lot. This is the Kingslayer for the bitbag.com as well as the Kingslayer.com. And this is Visceral Games. Say your name again.
Zach Mudbox.
Zach Mudbox. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.